be broken in pieces. When the truth comes out, when the truth comes out, you can run, but you know it's ending.
Hey friends, we are back. You know what? It has been far too long, and I know I'm trying to do so much better at being consistent, but here we are. JennX, truth be told, John 8:32 tells us what? If you tell the truth and if you know the truth shall set you free. So let's make sure, friends, while we are doing this, we stick to facts over fiction, but we have a little fun with it. So I got to tell you guys a little story, just a little opener here. Last week, I was so excited to do this. I was feeling super Christmassy and I had my red sweater on and I was just in the mood to just shoot the shit with you guys. And here's what happened. I recorded my entire podcast and my mic was on mute. So that was a problem. That ended up being an issue. And of course, when you record these things, I'm not editing it in the sense of like ad-libbing or anything like that. It's like whatever comes out of my mouth is what you guys are going to get. So to redo it was going to be impossible. But I'm going to try to put together something fun for you guys today so that we can, catch up and have a good little time here. So here's the deal. There's been a lot going on in the last week since I filmed the last one. So I think I might switch gears a little bit from what I was talking about with the original one. Sorry, you guys. These headphones make my hair go crazy. It's kind of annoying. But anyway, here we go. We're going to get into this. So what I wanted to say is initially last week, some of what I was going to talk about was holiday alienation and how we have this, I think cancel culture has gotten out of control, and forget about for products and retail. I think cancel culture of the people we love and our families and all of that other stuff is like literally genuinely out of control. Hang on one second, you guys, while I get this fixed. Hold on, bear with me. Okay, had to fix my headphones because without them, I feel like I get all kinds of weird noise. And sometimes if they're not just right, I can't hear anything and it gets all wonkadoodle. So anyways, I'm back. What I wanted to talk about a little bit today with you guys is I think it's outrageous. I think it's kind of crazy. And this is what was making me think of that. So let me talk about my daddy for a little bit. I haven't been getting too terribly personal with you guys on as far as like talking about my life, my family, my kids, my parents, and all the things. And we're going to start doing that. 2026 is going to be about diving deeper, getting more personal, and really becoming vulnerable with you guys. So stay tuned for that. I've just really been talking about hot topics, things that have been going on with social media, things that have been going on, pop culture and all of that. But I've kind of left out a lot of me. And I said that I was going to take you on this journey where I dove deeper when it came to me. So we are going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. But for today, I will share a little bit personally. So some of you know I was raised by a single dad. My dad in the 70s got custody of my little sister and I. And I say little, she's 50, I'm 52. So we're grown-ass women. And I think my dad did a pretty good job with us for a single man in the 70s raising two little girls by himself. I mean, he had the help of his sisters and, it takes a village, don't get me wrong. But as a single dad, that's not pretty common, right? That's just not that common back in the 70s. And I will say that from outward appearances, if people were to witness my dad and I, because we are like the best of friends, my dad, literally, we talk 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day. He'll call me, tells me about the weather. Keep in mind, he's 2,000 miles away. My dad's on the East Coast. I'm here in Colorado. My dad's in Rhode Island. He will call and give me weather reports. He will call and tell me about, whether to bring an umbrella or not. I'm in real estate. I'm a realtor. And so he'll call me when he hears things about Fed cuts. And we just talk about anything and everything, right? So he's just my bud. He calls, he checks in, he asks about my kiddos, my stepmom, she's the same way. We have these great conversations. We have an amazing relationship. Listen, you guys, the last 3 elections, I voted for Trump. Okay. I was born in 1973. I didn't really get into politics in my younger years. I wasn't really all that involved in my 20s. It wasn't until my 30s, 40s, 50s that I really started taking a political stance seriously, if you will. My dad, most of my life, from what I can remember, I felt leaned right a lot more when I was younger. He seemed to have a little bit more of a conservative perspective. And I think that's because my dad was a single father, working super hard, sometimes worked 2, 3 jobs, which I adapted that from him. When I was a single mom, I was working 2, 3 jobs. Not a big believer in the welfare system, not a big believer in getting assistance unless it's something that you genuinely really did need. If you were able bodied and capable of providing for your family and capable of having a job and doing all the things, get your ass off the couch and go do it. That's just the way my dad was. And that's the way I am. I didn't use the excuse of, well, I'm an 18-year-old kid and I'm having a baby, and so I need help. I remember being on WIC for a very short time during the time when I was pregnant. And I felt like it handicapped me. And I felt like it made me feel lesser than. Sometimes the questions that they would ask you to qualify you. And it always felt like an interrogation. You know what I mean? And there was this, part of me that always felt like, gosh dang it, I feel guilty because I am capable of getting out and going to work. Would it be easier towards the end of my pregnancy to just stay home? Sure, it would have. And I was pretty much on my own. So it's not like I had a 2-income family. It's not like I was 27 and married. I didn't own a home. I didn't have anything. I lived in a 1-room studio when I was pregnant and getting ready to have a baby. And I had a Murphy bed. My son's crib, when we put it together, I put it in a closet and I took the doors off and hung curtains to make it feel homey, if you will. So anyways, with that being said, that was my younger experience with my dad and watching him. But as he got older and, has been dealing with some ailments, my stepmom's the same way. They're both diabetic. She's insulin dependent. They became very codependent on state services, Medicaid, Medicare, their Plan Bs that go with the supplements that go with their Medicare. They're both on Social Security. And so what was happening with the government from a state level of assistance, and they live in a very blue state, I think they started to lean more left. And so the last 3 elections, my dad and stepmom, they voted for Hillary Clinton. They voted for Joe Biden. They voted for Kamala Harris. And I voted for Trump. Do we stand on different political sides of the aisle? Yes, we do. Do we see the world from different lenses? We absolutely do. Do I love my dad with my whole entire heart? And do I not, quite frankly, give a shit who he voted for? No, I don't. I don't. This man worked his ass off when I was a child to raise me, clothe me, feed me, make sure I had a roof over my head. Sometimes it was multiple roofs. We were getting evicted. We were moving around from car to car, house to house, all the different things. And I grew up, we did not grow up with any ounce. We didn't grow up with wealth. We just grew up feeling secure. I don't think that we recognized that we were poor because some kids had bikes. They had nicer bikes. We just had bikes that were secondhand or were given to us. But nonetheless, we were out with our friends and we were playing and we were riding bikes. But I will say we've had very few conversations in the political arena. I tend to not do that. And I think what drives me crazy and what I'm seeing all over social media, and I think the reason why I wanted to talk about this week is because we're 9 days from Christmas, you guys, 9 days. Now, don't hear me wrong. I'm not saying that if you are in a verbally abusive, toxic relationship, toxic friendship, all the things, and make sure you're not defining toxic by someone who doesn't agree with you. That's not toxicity. That's just a difference of opinion. And that's okay. When you start to take that difference of opinion and use it as a weapon and you weaponize one another with it and you hurt each other with it, that's a different story. But if literally my dad votes for Biden and I vote for Trump and we never talk about it, there's a plethora of other things for my dad and I to speak of that I could care less. And here's why I'm going to tell you this is because these people, especially the presidency, right? At max, they can serve 8 years and that's it. So that's 8 years of your life. I'm 52 years old. So why would I, for, up until my 44th year of life, there was no, or we'll say, a little bit sooner than that because Trump lost one election and was years ago. But let me just say this. Many, many decades, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Trump didn't exist. And you know what's going to happen after this next election? He's not going to exist again when it comes politically. I think what's happening is we are letting this define who we are as people. And I'm going to tell you something. None of these politicians give a shit about you on Christmas. And what I mean by this is is that they are all going to sit around and they're going to have their figgy pudding and their turkey and their prime ribs and their hams and their lasagnas and their 7 fish dinners and all the things, no matter what nationality or demographic you are in. They are all going to be doing their thing, and you're not going to be a consideration when they're with their kids and their grandkids opening presents. But you know what we're all doing as a society? Avoiding each other, calling each other names, being cruel to one another. Why is it even a tabletop discussion? Why are we talking about who we voted for? I feel like this is such a, we're beating a dead horse, but really not. This horse hasn't died yet. We haven't put it to rest because we're still doing it. And I don't know why. And I don't understand it. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it would be ridiculous to be like, Dad, what the hell did you vote for Biden for? Why did you vote for Kamala? Why would you vote for Hillary? I can't stand her. So you can be like, why? No, I don't care to know. That's my dad's personal business. He has the right to vote. He has the right to have his opinion, and I have the right to have mine. We don't form opinions about one another as people based on our political point of views. And here's also why. I think this is the larger group of people, but you guys are getting it twisted. Okay. So for instance, my dad is liberal. He leans left. And with that, he ends up voting blue more often than not. But I can tell you that my dad is a conservative liberal, because there are things that he just doesn't agree with. Like, he does believe if you need a job, you should go. I mean, if you have the ability to go out and work, he doesn't want you to be lazy. He thinks you should go out and work. But he also has a Samaritan heart and believes that there are some people that need assistance. I also agree with him on that. I, on the other hand, lean more right. I'm a Christian. I'm a very strong Christian. I'm very conservative. However, I do have left-leaning probabilities when it comes to certain subjects. So I am a very liberal conservative, if you will. So we kind of meet in the middle on some things, but then there are some things where we are way far apart and we just don't talk about it. I don't need to talk about it with him. And here's the thing. This is what I mean. We've had a couple of discussions, my dad and I, and they didn't get heated, but I was like, Dad, do you really believe that? Did you look that up? And he'll say the same thing to me. Like, he can't believe some things that come out of Donald Trump's mouth. And you know what? I agree with him. This is where I agree with my dad. If you were to ask me, Jen, would you vote for Trump again today? The answer is yes. Yes, I would. If you ask me how I feel about Donald Trump as a person, I'm going to tell you that there are days I literally had said, I wish that Donald Trump could take his business sense and some of his policies and the way that he manhandles the government like we need him to. And I'm talking about with compassion and humanity, because he does, whether you want to believe it or not. I wish he could do that with his mouth shut. Because, did I agree with him calling a reporter piggy? Yeah, no, I didn't. I think it's tactless. But one of the things that bothered me the most, and I can tell you that I don't agree with, was the day after Robert Reiner died, or it was the day that he died. And I felt like he looked just like the far liberals that we bitch about when they remember everything that happened with Charlie Kirk and how they were pridefully, praising and celebrating and criticizing that man in death when he has no ability to defend himself. I think that's cowardly. I think when Robert Reiner died and Trump went and tweeted or truth socialed or did whatever it was that he did and how he talked about that man and his political point of view, I don't care. I don't care about Robert Reiner's political point of views. What I care about is that he and his wife, the last few minutes of their life, probably had the look of fear in their eyes when they're being murdered, stabbed by their son, of all people. I can't imagine it. And so do I think it was classless of our president to go and make a post and say the things that he said on Truth Social? I 100% do. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of classless things that Kamala does and that Biden did and that both Clintons did and that the Bushes did. And that sometimes, I don't think Reagan was ever classless. I think he was the classiest of them all. But I guess what I'm going to say is they are flawed. I still would have voted for him for the policies and procedures that I lean towards. But can I stand to sometime listen to him open his mouth? No. My dad and I agree that I think sometimes Donald Trump is a jerk. It's just that simple. I was really bothered. And the reason being is I don't want to be like them. We need to be different. Just because the left went crazy when Charlie Kirk was assassinated on live TV and they made jokes about it and they did all the things that they did. I don't want to be like that. So every single time I feel like Trump has an opportunity to step to the plate and show that he is bigger, that we can be bigger, that we can rise above. You know how you break generational curses? You don't act like the assholes before you. So he lost that opportunity. I've seen him lose that opportunity a couple of times, and it's bothersome to me. Not bothersome enough to vote for Kamala Harris. So I still would have voted for Trump. I just sometimes wish he would shut his mouth. But I guess my point in saying that is that genuinely, it's not stopping. It's not going to end. So we know what Trump said on Truth Social. But like, here's a perfect example. And what I wanted to share with you guys, like, this is so bothersome to me. This was literally just yesterday. And this is why it's never going to get better. And this is why we're not sharing holidays with one another. I don't care. If you want to wear a Charlie Kirk Freedom shirt as a Target employee at Target, I don't care. You're not going to offend me. It's not going to offend me. Listen to me. Watch. This is why I'm bringing this up. Let me.
To Charlie Kirk.
Let me just share this with you guys. Watch.
Sure. Yes. Yes, I know. Are you fucking stupid?
A customer approached a Target employee who was working and wearing a red Charlie Kirk shirt. TikTok user Mother of Ballers told her it was against Target's policy and that she shouldn't be wearing it while on the. When it comes to policy, they should have brought it to a manager instead and let.
When did we get so bold to walk up to an employee? And why are you so offended that she's wearing a shirt that says freedom on it? Even if you don't like Charlie Kirk for whatever reason, but you want the freedom of speech. Listen to me. 2 summers ago, we walked into Target and my niece, I took her shopping for a bathing suit and there were bikinis with tuckable wear for young trans men who wanted to be women. You don't think that was upsetting for me? When my niece holds up a bikini bottom and is like, what is this? Yeah, it's so that a 13-year-old boy could tuck his penis in there. And listen, we all have things that offend us. You know what I'm saying? Hang on one second. Sorry, guys, I had to get a drink. Goodness gracious. To walk up to someone and call them effing stupid because of something that they wore, for Donald Trump to get online and almost make it sound like all the things that this man said about him, there is nothing justifiable for people to be losing their lives, not Charlie Kirk and not Robert Reiner. And I hate what the world is turning to where either side is finding justification. Neither side is correct. This is why I say I'm independent and I'm very down the middle. You know what I mean? Because I will tell you, I think that Trump was a POS for saying what he said. And I think the lady walking into someone and calling her effing stupid because she's, a fan of Charlie Kirk is also making her a POS. And I think that we need to learn to start minding our business. And the golden rule, you know what I mean? If you can't find anything nice to say, shut the hell up. Like, why not just shut the hell up? Why do you have to say anything? You know what, Trump? If you didn't like Robert Reiner, if you didn't like his opinion of you, you didn't like the things that he said, be quiet. Wish his family well. Say a prayer for them. You're a God-honoring Christian man. This is what you want us to fall in line with, right? Now, Christians, we're all messed up. I curse on a daily basis, and I curse a lot, and I struggle with it, and it's a problem. And I need to seek forgiveness a lot. But if we're going to continue to be out here and, you're proclaiming your Christianity and you want to bring God back to this country and all the other things, well, criticizing and almost saying like, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit and sorry, not sorry that you're gone, but your son was crazy and your son had issues and you didn't like me and all that other stuff. How is that healing this country? This country is not going to heal. And so I'm just saying, and what I would love to see this upcoming holiday season, listen, you guys, we have 9 days. 9 days to get our shit together. Can we do that? Can you guys do that? I think that you can. I think we should start picking up our phones and calling people. It doesn't even have to be an apology. Maybe you don't feel like you're wrong. Maybe they don't feel like they're wrong about your political perspectives and point of views and what side of the aisle that you're on. But maybe you could say, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you guys something. My mother died in February of 2024. It was completely unexpected. I was not prepared for it. My dad and my stepmom live on the East Coast where I'm from. I moved to Colorado in 1998. My mom moved out here to be closer to me, which we'll get into that another day, but it's ironic considering I'm so close with my dad and my dad raised me and my mom and I had a really tumultuous relationship, but I'm glad she did because we healed over time. Goodness, you guys, 'tis a season. But what I wanted to say is I took care of my mom. I moved her 3 blocks from me. And the week that my mom died, it was the day before Valentine's Day. I got a call from my stepmom, and we genuinely thought my dad was dying. He has a genetic liver disease. My aunt died of it. It just sucks, right? And so we thought we were going to lose my dad. So I immediately flew out to Rhode Island to go spend the week with him and see him because I genuinely thought I was going out there to say goodbye. While I was out there, the day that I was getting ready to fly home, the day before, I said to my husband, I'm like, I don't have a good feeling. I'm worried about my mom. Can you go check on her? And, usually on Sundays, we would go over there and get her mail for her, check her mailbox, get her trash, do all the things and take care of her. So I left my son and my husband in charge of that while I was gone. And the day before he was supposed to go over, I said to him, I'm like, I don't have a good feeling. I've been trying to call my mom. She's not answering. Now, I will say this. My mom is agoraphobic. She was very antisocial. She did struggle with alcoholism. She struggled with, she just struggled emotionally. And there were times she would avoid us and just not answer the phone for days. And so I would have to leave her a message and be like, Mom, if you don't answer the door or if you don't answer this phone, I genuinely am going to call the police and I will have them break the door down. And then all of a sudden she would call me and be like, Jennifer, just leave me alone. I just need a day. And so, there was that. But I wasn't getting any of that back. And so I was concerned. And so I asked my husband to go check on her. And he went over there and he had to call me and tell me. I mean, it was my husband, bless his heart, that found her on the floor in her bedroom. And so she had passed. I think she had been gone for a couple days at this point. And it was devastating because I was in this place of thinking I was saying goodbye to my dad. And then my dad, here we are in almost February of 2026. It's almost 2 years later. My dad is hanging in there, but I lost my mom. I didn't realize that 60 days before that was my last Christmas. That was my last Christmas. And I can tell you that my mom was also much more liberal, much more blue. I have a very different set of lenses of how I see the world in comparison to my parents, but they are my parents and I love them and I respect them and I care for them. And there is no relationship worth losing over a political point of view because politics are temporary. We've had so many different, it's Republican, it's Democrat. I mean, honestly, we flip-flop back and forth and then they're gone. But my parents are still here. Well, one of them is. And I just think, it was devastating for me. And I still, this past Thanksgiving, every big holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, I would always cook a big meal and I would put together a big plate and bring it over to my mom. And I still haven't gotten out of the habit of when everybody's sitting down and I'm cleaning up the dishes is when I normally make the plate and desserts and everything. And then I go visit with my mom. And this year I took a deep breath and I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to make her plate. And this is the second Thanksgiving that hit me. And I'm sure the same thing will happen at Christmas. Can I just tell you guys, I would give anything. I would give anything to make her favorite dishes. I would give anything to bring her over a margarita and sit with her, even though she struggled. Sometimes I just had to meet my mom where she was at and just joke. And I would always help her put her decorations up. And she was so close to my younger son. And it's been hard. And I'm just telling you guys, this could be your last Christmas. As cliche and as stupid as that sounds, there are going to be people that spend or choose not to spend the holiday together. And it could be within a day or a month or 6 months. And that person will be gone. That person will be gone. Is that what we want? Are we wanting to alienate our family? And then we have the aftermath of once they're gone going, I wish I had one more conversation. Was Donald Trump not worth talking to your mom about? Was Kamala Harris not worth talking to your mom about? ICE, all this business, all this shit that's going on. Look, I don't agree with all of it and I don't disagree with some of it. But I'm not going to bring it up. It's not topical conversation with my family and my parents anymore. I'd give anything to talk about anything with my mom, birdhouses, just anything. And you guys are losing those opportunities because you're wasting it on shit like this in politics. Again, I'm not talking about people that are verbally abusive to one another, physically abusive to one another. I'm just saying families need to be healed over this political divide. It doesn't need to go to the stage that it's been going, you guys. It's out of control. And I think it's insanity. to not see our family and spend time with them. And you're robbing your children and grandchildren. It doesn't make sense to me. It really, really doesn't. So I'm not going to spend a lot more time talking about that. I think we all need to pull an Elsa. I think we all need to lock into our frozen mode and let it go. Let it go. People, just let it go. Bring some effing gingerbread cookies. I told you guys I made a TikTok about this. Bake yourself some cookies. Whatever it is that you do, go over and play some holiday games. You can tolerate each other, even if it is for yet just an hour, and then go home. But don't talk about all this other rhetoric bullshit. It's irrelevant at the end of the day. It's irrelevant, okay? We don't have to do that. I know this week a lot of people were asking me about the whole Candace and Erica. And here's the thing. I'm just going to give you maybe like a little 5-minute blurb on my stance on this. I think they're both Christian women. I think they both love the Lord. And I think that they're both grieving. I think that their styles of grieving are differently. And I think that there's things about both of them that have felt off, that just have not sat well with me. But here's where I'm at on that. I don't feel that I am in a position to cause or cast judgment on either one of them. There's things that come out of Candace Owens' mouth that make me go, that was interesting. And then I follow up on it. And some of it, she's providing receipts, right? And then there's some things where I'm like, what in the holy hell rabbit hole and Alice in Wonderland did we pull this at? We just pulled that out of our ass. It just seems outrageous. And then there's times people are talking about Erica and her stage presence, and everything's been a carnival since Charlie died, and she doesn't seem to be grieving in such a way that makes sense to most people. I don't know how I would grieve. Would it look something like how Erica Kirk has been? Probably not. Probably not. But I'm not in a place to wonder or question why she is. The one thing I did agree, and some of you may not agree with me on this, that Candace said is I don't think she should have stepped into the role of CEO of that company, because I do think she's answering questions that need to, as she's like, there are questions that need to be answered. There are some things that seem a little sketch that have been brought up that I think need to be addressed, and they're not being addressed. And she's answering them from a defensive, emotional, grieving wife and mother. And they need a CEO in place right now. And I'm not saying that she's not capable of being a CEO. I'm not saying women aren't capable. Listen, I've owned my own business for the last 12 years. And I'm the boss bitch. I'm in charge and nobody tells me how to do it. What I'm saying is that if I lost my husband today, I can guarantee you I'd have some people stepping in some roles for me to give me a time to exhale. That's all. So I don't know. Yes, it is. It's all a little bit sketch. It's all a little bit crazy. Candace, she makes me crazy. Like literally, I feel, did you ever see The Exorcist where their head is spinning? I feel like an owl. Like my head is just on rotation. I'm like, it's Egyptians, it's Egyptian planes, it's the French, it's French armies coming to her. It's this new thing with the underground tunnels and the guy from 1990s that has now come out, and supposedly he's supposed to be on her podcast this week because he's got information to share. And what are the odds that he's been around 2 major conspiracies? And I'm just like, oh my God. And then there's the TPUSA accusations. And then there's people from the company. And here's the thing. Social media and the internet, I think, is ruining us when it comes to actual investigation. Because if you think about it, Tom Brokaw, Dan Rather, major news stations, all of this, even the police and detectives and the FBI and CSI, all the things, right? When there was a murder investigation, we didn't have answers at our fingertips. We had to shut up, sit back, and let them do their job, right? I don't think that Kash Patel is supposed to be reporting to anyone. I think we need to leave him alone and let him do his job. Do I believe that this Tyler Robinson kid got a kill shot on Charlie in his neck from that far away with that gun? A kid that was supposedly like an engineering minding type of kid, and not like your, it's not a kid I would imagine being in the military. Do I think he got lucky? I don't think, if he has any involvement, I don't think it was something that he did on his own. I don't know. Like, I just genuinely don't know what to think. There's been so many conspiracy theories and so many different avenues that we could go down to point fingers. But part of me is like, look, Candace or Erica or whoever, if you have these inclinations, like, take it to the proper authorities, let them do their job, is kind of where I'm at. Some people are saying that they're not doing their job. I don't know. But I'm not team Candace and I'm not team Erica, but I will say I listened to both of them. And if I had to pick a lottery ticket today to say who's going to rise above on this one right now, I'd say I probably think Candace is doing something. I'll tell you this about that gal. Let me just say this. She's the kind of friend that you want to have, whether she's right or wrong about her investigation, whether she's losing her mind and she's too emotional and all the things that people want to think, whether they think she was secretly. Listen, if something happens to me, I want her looking into it. That's all I'm going to say. Like, she's relentless and she's all in. She's all chips in and she's not holding back, pulling back, not for 1 second. She's not afraid of who she's pissing off. She's like, look, some people are saying that they're going to come for me. Come for me. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I want her in my corner. I think a lot of people would like to see a little bit more of that from Erica. And I think because they're not seeing it from a public perspective, they feel like she doesn't care at all. I don't think that that's the case. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something a little, I don't know. But I think inquiring minds want to know. And I think we're going to see more come to the surface here soon enough. So let's see. And then, you get the perspective of people are like, we're still waiting for answers for JFK. Look, I just found out that we're supposed to get information released in 2026 about MLK and about a sexual assault that happened in a hotel room and that those files were sealed until 2026. I didn't even know that. I'm like, well, they left that part out in history class. I don't know. So there's all kinds of stuff taking place. I guess we're going to get some answers soon enough. I did want to share this one thing just to piggyback on what I was saying about my dad and I and how we have very different political point of views. I do want to show you guys this because this is what I mean. This is not a man who's disappointed and he does know that I voted for Trump the last 3 elections. And I know that he voted Democrat the last 3 elections, but my birthday was December 4th and I turned 52 and I'm still daddy's little girl. And this was a video that they sent me for my birthday. This is what family should look like beyond politics.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jennifer.
East Coast.
Happy birthday to you. We love you, honey. Have a great day. Yeah, it's National Cookie Day. Love you. Cookie. Have a cookie. Bye.
Listen to me. Do you think anybody seeing that would know that me and my dad have a political divide or me and my stepmom have a political divide? My dad just told me to go out and get a cookie and treat myself because it's National Cookie Day on my birthday. And they called to sing me happy birthday. I think that's what I want to leave you with today is that maybe you should all take a minute, put your feet in the grass. What do they say? Go out and touch some grass. Go out and get away from all of this, okay? And just recognize this could be the last holiday season you have with some of these people. It's not worth it. Trust me when I tell you, it's not worth it. So if you've been feeling it and it's been tugging at your heart and you miss your family and you miss your siblings and you miss your parents or you miss a friend, or pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Pride is a terrible, terrible thing. Let go of it. Just let go of it. So it's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys this coming into our Christmas season. And I'm going to try to get one more podcast in before Christmas. But I just wanted to just tell you guys, just enjoy yourselves, enjoy the moments, look around, be kind, be safe, be loving to one another, and remember the golden rule. And just, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. I love y'all, and we'll be talking again here soon. Peace out, friends.